pedals fucked up. Everything I see is from the pub I tell. I had a drink and it went down smooth, and now it's eating me alive. I'm in the shop and I'm just growing up. I wanna dance with this radioactive sluts, and for the rage since you're only 16, you never make it out alive.
Never.
And you're right. All my friends are double.
Okay, wait, don't make now.
Keep smoking. Keep smoking.
You're still sober, I won't go back there. No. Sitting up and my belt's fucked up, and everything I see is from the pub I tell. I had a drink and it went down smooth, and now it's eating me alive. I'm in the shop and I'm just growing up. I wanna dance with this radioactive sluts, and for the rage since you're only 16, you never make it out alive. And you're right. Are you still twisted? Song is cheap when you're still sober. I won't go back there. No.
Well, it all started with a bunch of ideas kind of getting spitballed around in SFA in the meetings. Someone said zombies, someone's like mockumentary, kind of mashed it together, and me, Brandon, and Zach kind of took the role of writing the film.
We sort of came up with the idea of doing a film about zombies living in a sort of a fringe society that don't live up to the stereotypes that the media essentially portrays them as.
That's kind of how we thought about it, as it's a celebration of zombie movies while sort of parodying the whole genre itself.
And we really just went from there and kind of figured, okay, if this world did exist, you know, what would be the things that were happening? You know, how would they be advocating for rights? What would the stereotypes be?
They just want to come back to society and live with everyone and regain their rights and be with the people they loved and be with the living, because they're not monsters. They don't eat people. Most of them don't eat people.
They can go out on Halloween because people think they're just in costumes. That really drove the whole bar scene, which created a whole new interaction with different people and got us to be outside of Zombieville and kind of into society.
It went from a small idea to a big idea. And originally with SFA, like, you know, SFA in prior years has done films that were known for being more dark dramas, and we decided to do something more along the line of a dark comedy this time.
Then once it got written, we had to produce it, so it was a lot of meetings, calling people, finding people to fill the roles, finding, you know, Reagan for makeup and Kate for costumes, locations, anything you could think of we had to find, pulling equipment together, making shot lists, making everything, and that was just the pre-production.
When we started creating the characters, we originally, this goes back to the whole hobo zombie things, living out of old rail cars in the woods. We started looking up a bunch of hobo names, and that's when we came up with the Vern, and Vern ultimately became a very different character than a hobo living back in the woods.
I think Vern has come to terms with who he is and who he was. And he understands that he can't go back to that. He can't, I think ultimately he misses his family, but he cannot achieve that again with those people. But he also understands that who he is as a zombie and getting back some form of life in the society. Because ultimately I think he is somebody that thrives on being with people, and people that understand him.
You know, Vern eventually became a very well-educated character that, you know, lost his status. Someone very, you know, cool and kind and intelligent and just wants the best for everyone.
Those ideas that Vern had are to the benefit of all zombies, whether or not regardless of his opinion of them, he sees those ideas as more important than a relationship that he has with other zombies.
We use him to connect with the audience more when we're not joking around. And Tony really brought it. Tony was so perfect in that role. Whenever he came in for casting, he just started talking, and I think Kyle Brand and I were just like, he's perfect for Vern.
I was so excited about Tony. I don't know where he was the last, 2 years, because in the past we've struggled to find actors to play just older roles, I guess. Just talking to him, I remember, because I'd never met him, and I couldn't tell if he was acting or not, which is always a really good sign of a good performer, because he was talking to Darian and the rest of them, and I'm sitting there, I was like, I can't tell if he's in character or not.
I was actually just talking to Brandon about today. We both said we wish Tony was our dad. He's just like the coolest guy.
Somebody said along the way, man, you're like a father here. I don't know what I should say, if I can say shit, and you're gonna yell at me, or...
It was cool having somebody who wasn't, a college undergrad student be in a film and actually want to do that. So that was awesome. I liked him.
There's my rat. That could be a squirrel. That could be a multitudes of things. That could be the fabled chinchilla. That could be a jackrabbit. That could be a lemming, for all we know. Because they all look the same, yet Jim Fry calls them, he's got a million different names for them. He's hunting for a water crossing rat at one point. A water crossing rat. That could be you'd have no idea.
We wanted to, and Jim Fry as well, he goes back to the original roots of the whole hobo idea, sort of backwoods drifter, but he really stayed the same from the beginning, but I can't say we fully developed the character for what it was in its original form. I really have to give Darian Lux a lot of credit for that.
Jim Fry is almost like the village idiot, but at the same time, you gotta love him. There's only like a few seconds where you see Jim Fry not even unhappy, just aggravated, because he's always doing something. He's always got, whether it's good or it's bad, he's always hunting or fishing. He thinks everyone wants to eat his food and everyone wants to hang out with him and listen to him play music. He's the kind of guy, like, if you go to a party, like, you want that guy to be there.
The character really kind of took on that sort of like crazy redneck hunting show, hunter, fisherman sort of character at the end of the day.
I really just auditioned just for the heck of it, because I thought I might get like a extra role out of it if I auditioned. So I really didn't plan on being one of the main characters, and I don't think the script planned on Jim Fry being a main character. Darian
has never acted before, which bothers me because he's fantastic and he's so talented.
Darian is ridiculous. I don't know how I didn't laugh more during his things. I was standing there with like my hands over my mouth, just trying not to die.
If I would lose character and then like Brandon would be like, hey, we need Jim Fry, I can't just go into that scene talking like myself. So I literally had to stay. I tried as hard as possible to stay in my voice. Even when we were at lunch, eating down by the cars, I was still trying to talk in my voice. Even at rehearsals, I stayed in character the whole time.
Going in with Darian Lux, who is just way over the top in literally everything he does. It's almost like a ball buster. Like anytime you get a groove going, he just comes in with something better.
We actually brought Mallory Chevalier in a little later in the process because we wanted to balance our cast a little better. We didn't have as many female characters as we would have liked.
To be honest, I didn't want to do a zombie film. I was not big on the idea because I feel like every student filmmaker makes a zombie film. So I was thoroughly not excited in the very beginning. But then once I got a better sense of the script and I found out that it was going to be more comedic and shot in the documentary style, got a little bit more excited and I thought, okay, this could have some potential. And then when I came in to the rehearsal with the other main characters and just saw them interacting and actually bringing the characters to life and interacting with each other, and just it was all improv and it was so funny. So I got really excited and I knew that it was going to be fantastic.
She created a character known as Gwen, and she started mentioning there was a point where she mentioned bath salts. So we decided to create this very off of her inspiration. We created this character that was a junkie. There was this whole thing that bath salts were the new, they were the drug that was creating zombies, and the zombie apocalypse is going to happen.
She was just sort of there as like an extra, and she made a character on the spot. And We just gave her a name to that character.
It's a more realistic experience, I think, to actually get out and on location, and everything is in our hands. So rather than make just a couple minute long short film for a class that you can pound out in like a week, this is a process that takes, a semester or two each year. So yeah, I think it's just better prepared me for what I'm getting myself into in a few months.
Mandy was, we also decided very early on that we thought it would be funny that there was a character that was alive, one person that really saw them for what they truly were.
It was an interesting premise for a movie. I wasn't sure how that was going to turn out, a zombie comedy, but I think it was a really good idea, and when I went into the audition and I got to read the lines, I'm like, yeah, I originally thought that I'd be going for the college student, but when I started reading Mandy's lines and improving her, I'm like, yep, that's me. She didn't have as much as the other ones of a backstory, and so I had to come up with little ideas, and I think we worked it out in the improv, like her love of zombie movies, and the nursing home job and stuff like that, so that was interesting.
She sees these zombies for what they truly are, just the people they are. She takes care of them and she helps them, but she still is a bit of a sucker for what the classic zombie film is. She's a bit of a nut, so she loves those old zombie films regardless of whether the zombie stereotypes aren't true and what they're based on.
The idea was we'd have someone that was sympathetic to our zombie characters, which would just help give it sort of a depth to our zombie rights movement.
Josie is very nice. I met up with her a couple times. We've gone over different scripts since the movie ended.
Her improv was really good. There were a couple times that she interacted with Gwen that I almost chuckled because of how calm she is, considering Gwen is this drug addict, and Mandy's just so nice and patient with her, and helps her get what she needs. And yeah, I thought that Josie did a really good job.
This was my first mockumentary. I've done improv and film. Film is a lot of improv, but this was almost entirely improvised, so it was a different type of process. And it's another comedy to put under my belt, and I seem to be building up a lot of those recently, so it's good.
Huh?
We had Bailey. There was a bit of back and forth. We originally wanted her to be sort of a sweet, innocent character that went out and tried to drink that one time, and just got a little too crazy on a trip to New Orleans with her friends.
Well, I really had no idea what it was going to be because the script wasn't finished yet. So it kind of gave me a lot of room just to play around and see what's going on.
I worked with Hannah last year on Painted Skies, and I already knew that she was fantastic.
Hannah really brought some great comedic timing through just these long pauses.
So her character really kind of became that definitive mean girls, white girl sort of character, just real basic, just always on her phone. She's sort of a metaphorical zombie in a way, and a sort of a statement on how our generation today, all they have time to do is look at their cell phone. They're always just looking in front of themselves, not paying attention to the world around them or really knowing of the world around them.
I feel like last year we tried our best to use what we had and what was easiest and convenience, but this year we stepped out and made sure we went to different locations or just tried something different than last year.
Hi, I'm Bill Lewis. Did you know that 1 in every 5 zombies is going to be shot in the brains? It's a terrible statistic that we must live with unless we do something about it now. For a small donation of just $5 a month, we could save an undead life.
Steven, he was a character that we created very early on, about at the time we transitioned the story to what it was in its more final form, about being sort of a civil rights movement in this fringe community.
Whenever we casted Bill brought this cartoonishly angry character, and the more he got comfortable with that character, the more Steven developed.
He's very stock-oriented, but he doesn't really know much about the stock market. He's just he's a con man. He's a dickhole. What are those bags of shit that people have? That's him. A colostomy bag? He's a colostomy bag.
Really, at the end of the day, Bill's just really responsible for bringing that character to life, just really taking it to that next level, being mean, that character that no one really likes, and he doesn't like anyone else, so he's supposed to be very distant from everyone else.
I have a potty mouth. Most of the insults I got to come up with, and it's just stuff I use anyways. Like, I use the phrase dirty brown garbage water all the time, which is from Workaholics, which isn't even, I didn't even use the right phrase. I completely just butchered that. Shows how worthless I am.
I know Gwen says it in the film, but I mean, I meant it personally as well. Whenever Steven and Backwoods, Jim Fry, are together, it's just so funny. Like, I eventually learned not to stand too close when they were filming together because I was so afraid that I was gonna burst out laughing and ruin a take.
We did so much stuff that wasn't in the script. Like, we just went off on a lot of stuff, like a lot of the interactions me and Steven and Jim Fry had together, I think. That was a good time.
The cast was amazing. Honestly, we spent a lot of time planning this, and if the 6 people that walked in and auditioned and got the lead roles didn't come in, I don't think this would have been the same at all.
Another one.
This was good, guys.
Should we bring him back? He might turn into me. I could use another buddy. He's an asshole. Very read books. Bailey, we're over here. We're getting the people. Bailey, I'll go get her.
His cheeks are still rosy. He's still fresh.
This went pretty well, didn't it, Vern?
How should I caption it? Dead and proud.
I think they're loving it.
We're here, we're dead, get
What
used
is
to it.
that?
I think we had more rehearsal time, talking about our characters and doing things as our characters in a room where somebody would shout out golf or go bowling, and we'd all go bowling. And even though we were acting that we were bowling, it was, I think, it helped to generate a comfort level between the actors as characters, and then between the characters as being together.
Hi, everybody.
Cameraman's here.
Yes. See, he's
I
not
played
scared.
them the
Scared.
possum song.
So why don't we do this again?
Gonna
Stand
cook you some possum.
proud.
Zombie and proud.
We got to interact between the characters, one-on-one, or like all of us at the same time, and anytime someone came up with a good line, immediately like Zach would write it down, or Brandon would say write that down. And a lot of the dialogue from the movie, well, not a lot of it, but a good amount, and it came from those rehearsal sessions. And without those, like, if we would have just showed up, I think we would have had a way different final product. I think those were extremely crucial to the movie as a whole.
He's not eating me.
Smell great.
Let's not look. He's got a
No, we don't eat liver girl. We ate that other
No,
guy.
no.
No, we didn't eat nobody.
She's got a smile on her face. She's not eating me. See? It's all
Pulse
good.
is really distracting, though. It's always nerve-wracking, I feel like, as an actor and as a performer, to not know what you're gonna do when the camera turns on, and know that, you know, action has been said, but you have no idea what you're gonna say next. It's scary at times, especially when everybody else around you is so great.
Okay, here we
Say it loud, I'm undead and proud.
Yeah.
We ate that guy at the bar.
Yeah. Don't say that. You're gonna
Oh, can't say that. We ate the guy at the bar.
keep eating people. You can't tell people that we eat people.
If I want to keep eating people, I can't tell people that I get.
Shut the fuck up, Jim Bob.
All right, shut up, Jim Bob.
I think it turned out pretty well. It was a very good ensemble. You don't always get that when you first meet a bunch of people in film. I think we really clicked when we first got in there and just had a lot of fun.
Say it loud, I'm
Dead and
proud. I'm proud to be dead. Yeah. We're all
Dead and proud.
dead.
Dead and proud.
We were, all of us, I think, more into our characters because we'd had that rehearsal. We didn't have to play it out in front of the camera.
We are all zombies. We are all.
Rob's
No. We're not all zombies.
Whenever I say it loud.
We're zombies, right?
Listen to Rob Zombie. Listen to Rob Zombie.
I know, that's why I got excited.
We're gonna walk in silence with smiles, though. Smiles.
We are walking in silence.
Oh, no.
We are walking in silence.
No talking.
I got
Smile.
wet mouth, though. No problem.
I'm proud. I'm
Walking.
dead.
We're walking.
Proud.
You gotta look. You gotta
Dead.
smile.
I'm proud.
Rolling. Oh my God, your eyes got so wide open.
You want to try that again?
That was awesome. I want to get in there. You're so slippery.
On the fantastic set we set up, we had to decorate the whole thing. We had to go there a day or so before. We had to set up the canopies. We had to arrange the chairs, and we had to set up the fire pits, and we had to set up like the fences and the tires and build the lean-tos, and it was a tremendous effort.
This is
Look at
professional
that.
Hassan, I swear. This is how they do it in Hollywood. We had a great selection of lenses that we pulled from people. Brandon, the director, has a bunch of lenses, some Cine lenses that he got. Hassan had a bunch of lenses. So we were able to just kind of pull a lot of equipment and really just go from there. We had pretty much any lens we needed to do anything, which made the director of photography job way more interesting.
And we had a lot of opportunity there, a lot of time to learn and play with some much better equipment than most people are used to getting their hands on.
The hardest part was just finding everything and sort of bringing it all together. And it's just the little things that make the movie pop more, like the props you see in the background or like the setting itself. I think finding the location was probably one of the most stressful things ever. We got turned down by several places for locations due to like either insurance or they just, didn't want us on their property.
It was really quite a long process that took a lot of effort on the part of a lot of people.
I'm still looking for the sink, the proper place.
Right there. Right on the ground.
Done! That's not bad. Guys got taste!
If you were to do a zombie film without makeup, it's not believable. So I feel like makeup that's what really sells the whole character and the whole concept of a film is the makeup.
My youngest didn't understand at all what was happening until I came home in makeup after, I think, the first makeup shoot that we had. And she was kind of freaked out. She knew it was me, but she didn't quite understand why I was dressed that way.
I'd go to class the next day, and I'd look like I was in that middle school, like, goth phase, with just, like, all the black eyes and all the My Chemical Romance shirts. It was a good time.
Makeup started at 4 in the morning, and everyone that knows me knows I'm not a morning person yet. We were there at 4 in the morning, got done by 5:30. We're on the road by 6, show up at 7, and then by 8 o'clock, everything's set up and we're ready to go.
We use food coloring to take out any of the redness in the mouths of the actors and to kind of give it that more dead feel. And I didn't realize how disgusting food coloring was until I actually had to put it in my mouth and had to vomit it back up. So that was a little disgusting.
That was probably my worst memory. I hated it, and it tasted gross.
Now the black stuff was disgusting, especially when it was warm. There was one point where it was in Brandon's pocket for like a good 2 hours, and I didn't know that. And he squirted it in my mouth, and I was ready to puke, like right on him.
Some of the other characters who had it applied probably could taste more bitterness than I could. It just kind of tasted sweet briefly, and then it was nothing.
I had so much fun working with the director and all the actors and the production crew, and even though it was different from theater, film is something that I really want to start getting into, and it was a great experience for me.
This is the start of the area. This is...
What the shit?
This is Steven.
No! Fuck you! Go! Get the fuck out of here now!
Fuck you!
Sorry. I think we did 4 or 5 takes on this, but it was one take right at the end, like the penultimate one, where he slammed the door down and he said, "Fuck you." And that was totally unscripted, but that was the only time I think I blew a take because I was laughing my butt off. I mean, it was hilarious.
We had this running joke that zombies don't sleep, and Vern has been trying to sleep all the time. So Jim Fry goes up, Vern, and Vern's sitting there like this with a pillow on him and goes, and we were close, we were face to face, like eye to eye, so close, and he nailed it so good. The noise and everything, and that was the hardest scene. We tried 3 times. The third time I made it through without laughing. The first 2 times I couldn't do it. I had to break character.
I think it was a lot of the more improv scenes, like when a plane went overhead and we just randomly say, "Oh, it's the CDC," and we just kind of went with it. I think my favorite and least favorite moment was looking for Jim Fry's hand in the bar scene because he kept throwing it too far away for me to find, and I was supposed to find it, but I could never find it. So that just kept going and going.
I really do remember being able to fit in the trunk of Jake's bug and how everyone thought that was crazy. And I remember after having such a bad headache because the gasoline was right underneath where I was laying, and I didn't know that, and I was like, oh man, my head hurts.
Yeah, Dustin and Luke were really worried about like actually hurting me because they were just like punching me.
No! No!
But I'm like, no, you guys are good. They're dragging me by the shoulders, and yeah, that was fun.
The longer we were together, and I think this is true of any production, whether it's stage or film, the closer we got.
I've worked on a lot of student films, and it was a pretty professional set, honestly, so I had a lot of fun. Everybody worked well together. We listened to each other.
Crew is fantastic. Yeah, this movie would not be where it's at without the crew. Everything just seemed to fall into place and come together. We were very lucky to have the people we have involved with this movie, and it made it better because of it.
I love how close you get to a crew when you film. Even being crammed into a kitchen, getting prosthetics glued on at 4 in the morning with, you know, crew members floating around and whatnot, you really grow close to people and become kind of a unit.
Everyone just really came together and worked really hard to get this done because we had such a short schedule and we had so many things to do, and it was what we got done and the amount of time we got done was pretty impressive, I think.
The crew we had is just amazing, and I don't think we could have had a better bunch of people together. Like, this is such a collaborative effort. Everyone that was there like did a crucial part into making this movie what it is, and I'm really proud to say I was part of this.
It said May 2015. Yeah! I love it, guys! I like it! Jim
I got you, Dalek.
We set the foundations for these characters, but what they appeared as in their final form was really the effort of all the actors and actresses and all the rehearsals that they came to in order to, you know, create these relationships that would appear on screen. They worked so hard, and it came out quite well, and we were all very happy with it. I was very pleased with it.
So I definitely will take along with me the getting into character and having that character stay with me throughout and not losing it.
I definitely learned a lot last year and then applied it to this year, and I think like that's the way you got to do it. You learn from experience and then you apply it the next time you have the opportunity to apply it, and then you just keep going from there.
It's really been super collaborative, and we've been trying to just get as many opinions as possible.
Production was pretty fun, being on set, been with a lot of great people, and just being together with them made the movie like a really enjoyable experience.
I'm amazed that this group of people have been able to pull this off. That I think that speaks loudly to their skill and their dedication and their vision of what they want to have happen with this. And I'm really kind of touched to be part of that and to actually have helped somebody achieve something that they want. That for me that's very, very satisfying.
Thank you.